here. It's the King's Court, the live edition. We're gonna not do a quick or a big intro because we've got Nick Cattles here with us. We're gonna fantasy book some WrestleMania. We're also going to tie in the NBA. Nick, you know him, back from 1140, doing his own thing now, doing great things back there on the East Coast. We'll let him talk about that for a second, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun episode. I know we've had some requests for this. It wasn't gonna work with Matt George, so timing was not there. But as I said, I bring in our guest, Nick Cattles. Nick, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me onto the show to talk some wrestling, which I don't get a lot of opportunity to do. So I'm excited about it.
I know. And we caught up last year and we just stumbled upon it. For the people that don't know, you're kind of into wrestling and like you're good at it too. Let them in on it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of pro wrestling. Mostly WWE, AEW now. Try to watch TNA when I can, but my DVR for whatever reason isn't recording it consistently, so I haven't watched that in a while. But yeah, mostly AEW, WWE, big time into it, and you know, almost worked there a long time ago.
I know. Yeah, you gotta reset that really quick. Just reset
it. I was looking for possibly a gig in wrestling, and I was excited to try to get that done. And I actually sent a packet to Linda McMahon back then. It was like what was it, 05, 06, somewhere in that range. And I sent a letter to Linda McMahon. I think I also included like a write-up of the show. I wrote a script. And a few weeks after that, I got a call from their HR department, went through an interview, and a guy said, hey, look, just keep doing radio stuff, writing for radio, and then get back to me. But
yeah,
kind of fell in love with radio, touched on, went back to him a little bit a few months later, but it never kind of came to fruition. And then you fast forward to, years later, end up having a friendship kind of sort of with Jerry Lawler, who had a link to my dad in a way we don't have to get into, but they knew each other, and I thought I might get in there through Jerry, but decided to stick with the radio thing. So yeah, so it's my second love, I would say, my second passion beyond radio work and podcast stuff.
Well, it's kind of weird because it's like a second language, Nick. It's like, wait, I'm kind of an undercover wrestling fan. Do you speak my language? You kind of feel it out. You throw a couple terms out there, and if they get it, you're like, okay, maybe I can move forward. Now, the smart thing that you did was you sent it to Linda.
Yeah.
You didn't send it to Vince, because if you would have sent it to Vince all day, it's just going over the shoulder, Nick. But hey, WrestleMania is this weekend, and I kind of think it's a renaissance in the wrestling world right now. I got pulled back into it. I've told you this. One of my roommates from college, he works for the WWE. So I kind of got to see how the sausage is made, and just got me back into it. You got to go to WrestleMania last year, both nights.
Yeah, I went to LA. I was there with the wife, and it was my second WrestleMania. Went to WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, which was bananas because obviously not only Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement, but also I saw The Undertaker lose the undefeated streak via Brock Lesnar, which was a shocker. I went to the bathroom right after that match, and all of us in the men's room were like, that really just happened. I can't believe it. So yeah, I went to last year's show. And I would say night one was just epic. I don't think you could have had a better night than night one. Night two, I thought, fell back a little bit. And I at first wasn't in love with the idea of Cody losing, but I kind of came around to it thinking the adversity thing, wait a year, don't give him everything right off the bat. And so I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited too, but you never know. Because of the business, it's like, well, is there going to be an injury a year later? Who's going to be with WWE? I mean, I think WWE missed with Will Ospreay. My goodness. And I know that they usually don't do well with talents like that, but he's one of a kind.
Well, I just thought, Will wanted to stay in England. He wanted to stay, based over there. And so I think that was the bigger issue. I think they would have paid for Will. they wouldn't have had a problem doing that. And I'm sure that they, would have offered him. If they did not offer him a bunch of money, they would have. But yeah, I was listening to a recent interview with him, and it sounded like he was a guy that was really, really focused on his home life, his friend, his girlfriend's child. I guess his girlfriend went through a pretty, traumatic situation not too long ago, and she wanted to be near family. And look, man, I made that move from Sacramento back here to New England as a family, so I know exactly how that is. So I don't know if any amount of money would have pulled Ospreay to the WWE.
It's a fair point. You hear him talk about all the time. I've got a mortgage. I've got 2 dogs. And so anyways, as a wrestling fan, I'm happy he's in AEW because I think there's better matches there. But let's go back to WrestleMania, the story, finishing the story. This has not necessarily been a smooth ride to WrestleMania. The Rock gets thrown into it. The first question is, how do you see the story continuing at WrestleMania or ending?
I think it continues, but I think the story switches to Roman and Rock, right? I think that's what we got to expect. I think on Saturday night, I anticipate Cody and Seth losing. I anticipate that setting up a couple of things. Number one, Cody loses. I think Cody gets pinned, by the way. I think Cody will be the one that gets pinned. Big. I think The Rock will be the one that pins Cody. And what ends up going from there to, from point A to point B on Sunday night is now that sets up the bloodline rules, and it sets up Seth having to go against Drew McIntyre. So I think Seth and Cody losing that match will then set up Drew McIntyre beating Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Seth will have something to hang his hat on and say, a Saturday night didn't happen. I would have beat you, which would set up Drew to continue to do what he's been doing, which is
great work.
Oh, incredible work, right? Great promo work.
Incredible.
He'll continue to do what he's doing, which is he'll make sense on the microphone. He'll make great points and say, I told you the whole time, Seth, that you weren't paying enough attention. You weren't focused on the right thing. So that'll set that up. And then The Rock pinning Cody, I think, is pivotal because that will set up bloodline rules. I expect Cody to win on Sunday night.
I do too.
I expect him to beat Roman. And then that will set up Roman versus The Rock. And The Rock will have the issue saying, I did the job. I set it up. I beat Cody's ass. I did this. I did that. And I pinned Cody on Saturday night. I pinned his shoulders to the mat. I set it up perfectly for you, Roman. You had bloodline rules, and you still couldn't beat Cody. And that'll set up the whole Rock versus Roman thing.
Interesting. So I'm going to go a different way. Because Roman, he had his biography come out, A&E, right? Last week. And in it, he basically hinted if he loses, he's going away, right?
Right.
And so to me, I don't see a Rock and Roman feud unless they were to do one of those just double turns right there and bring Rock back face, or I guess it'd be a single turn, because I don't think Rock will be around. Now, I just think with the way they've worked up to the story, Nick, and with Roman's title reign, while it's amazing in this day and age, and it's legitimate, I mean, and it's been good for him, right, Nick? Because of his health stuff. He gets to work a limited schedule. It's perfect. But I feel like his title reign has a cloud of all this bloodline shit. Just interference. He should have lost the title here. Should have lost the title there. So if Roman's gonna do, what do they call it? Do the duties or do the whatever. If Roman's do the favors, yeah. If Roman's gonna put Cody over, the only way I see that story ending is just a one-on-one wrestling match in front of an entire stadium in Philadelphia, and Cody finishing the story.
It'd be interesting if they went that way because that means Cody and Seth win on Saturday. I just don't know if they would pull the trigger on Roman losing both nights. I think he has to win night one, and I think they have to set up the adversity for Cody, and they have to do the callbacks, right? Like, hey, last year in LA, they've been building up to it. To me, Ryan, they've been building up the moment where the deck is stacked against Cody yet again, going into night two, and then you have a massively overbooked masterpiece.
But
on
doesn't
your
it take
hands.
away? Doesn't it take away unless it's just
No,
overbooked
no.
in that one part when everybody's out there?
I don't think it's all about the finish. It's all about how you set it up, right? Like I don't like if Cody and Roman, if Cody has Roman in a situation where Roman's a little banged up, and then you have somebody come out, and then somebody takes care of, Jimmy comes out, gets taken care of. Solo comes out, gets taken care of. Rock comes out. If The Rock could come out and he gets taken care of by somebody. As long as it's not set up in a way where Cody had Roman the entire time or Roman was desperate for the help. If they don't set it up that way, and I think that's the key.
Good point.
The thing to me is, I wonder, Ryan, and I want your thoughts on it, man. I know we saw Bloodline Rules on Monday.
Yes.
I didn't get it. Like it was just a no DQ match, pretty much. It was a hardcore match. What I wonder is, are they going to try to stack the deck right from the jump? And so how early, so we don't have that late interference, how early does this happen in the match? Do you try to stack the deck with Jimmy as the ring bell guy? Do you try to stack the deck by having somebody on commentary like The Rock? Although they probably won't do that because CM Punk's going to do commentary for Drew and Seth, so it would be a little too mirrored. But there's definite ways where you can turn it into, as I said, just overbooked chaos, but not make Roman look terrible and have Cody earn the win.
So you're pulling me a little bit more to your side with that. And here's how I would counter that. I think it's a bad look if you do the timekeeper, the announcer. Bloodline rules like that doesn't make sense to me. You remember a couple WrestleMania? Well, it's more than a couple. The WrestleMania in Levi's Stadium. You remember the Sting and Triple H match?
Yeah.
Where it was basically, it was the NWO versus DX, and you see all these people. Well, Cody's theme song, right? There's more than two whatever names in wrestling, more than two wrestling families or something like that. Okay. What if it's that's the same line it goes throughout the match because it is Bloodline Rules. That means Cody can have, that's what people aren't saying. Bloodline Rules basically is anything goes unless the Bloodline says, look, you can't have anybody in your corner.
I like that.
So what if, Cody's got Dustin, his brother, that comes out? I don't know his AEW contract status. Could they work something out? Could those guys from Dusty's past and Cody's past also come to get their back? And it's kind of like everybody taking down the Bloodline, and Cody's the leader of
it. I really dig the idea of the Bloodline not only being on the side of Roman Reigns, but also Cody's bloodline. I'm just not sure, he doesn't have the extended family like Roman does, right? So that gets a little bit tricky. I don't know Dustin's contract status, like you said. I found it interesting that Dustin, after Rock beat up Cody at the end of Raw a couple weeks ago, went on Twitter and tweeted out, you son of a bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
To The Rock. I found that interesting. Another thing that I found interesting, I don't know if you saw it today, Ryan, or not, but Cody was on with Ariel Helwani, and Cody mentioned that that you would see Brandy on Sunday night. You would see her this weekend. And Ariel asked him, oh, is it going to be in the front row? Is it? And he said, I'm not giving you any more details. I'll just say you will see her. So you could bring Brandy into this thing. Now, of course, she's not going to get physical going against the Usos and all of that, but
no,
that would lead to your idea where Cody has some family members that are willing to help him out. Brandy would be one of them, but really, who else would it be? That's
that's the thing about Cody, right? Cody's difference is it's not so Roman and Rock, and we're going to get to a couple other things in a second. Like Nick only has about 10, 15 more minutes with us. So, but Cody doesn't have that bloodline like you're talking about, but what he does have is like the friends that are family. So for what is the bloodline's bloodline, maybe he brings out those closest to you. Maybe he gets an Orton for the legacy part. Maybe, the people that have been important in his career that can still appear on WWE.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to screw around with that, 100%. Like, Immediately, I think of John Cena. The ending of the
put
Raw.
Him over. You remember that? Yeah.
The ending of the Raw where, Rock's beating him up outside. They had that TV truck.
Yes. Great point, Nick.
Positioned perfectly behind the Rock with Cena's face. They also had Austin's face there too.
Yes,
I don't know if Austin will get involved, but another thing that Cody brought up to Helwani today was that it was John Cena who he spoke to the day after WrestleMania last year when he lost, and it was Cena who guided him personally on how to handle losing the match and psychologically dealing with that. So if you take Cody's interview today with Helwani, and if they're trying to plant some seeds, he mentioned Brandy and he mentioned John Cena. So could that be a part of the story? I think it could be. I could easily see Cena go out there. They've had that link on television. Cody's talked about him. I could see Cena come out and help him. Brandy help him in some way. I really dig the Goldust / like Dustin thing, but I just don't know about the contract, man. I mean, look, if you really want to go bananas, Ricky Starks, what's his contract? I think he's a couple of months away from coming up. So I don't know if Ricky's going to be around, but if you want to play like the Nightmare Factory kind of angle as his bloodline, that would be another way you could go. But I don't know if those guys are going to be around for it. So.
You know what I love, Nick? The fact that we're even able to have this conversation, because a couple of WrestleManias ago, maybe 5 years ago, wrestling was just so predictable, stale. It was Vince McMahon.
It was brutal.
Terrible. So there's one other thing. We're going to run down a couple of the other matches. We won't go into them in detail, but we'll pick winners that we have to talk about because it's been out there for almost a year. How does the Money in the Bank factor in to this weekend? Because I personally still don't think Priest is ready.
I don't either. I think Priest they'll either do an injury thing in the ladder match where it'll be obvious, like, oh, he's out and he gets, put through a couple tables or whatever, and they explain it that way. Or I think Hunter will find a way to make it clear that it's not going to be a cash-in moment. And I don't know how he's going to do that, but I would not force the Damian Priest thing down people's throats. I don't think he's there. I think Judgment Day has cooled off a little bit over the past couple of months.
Agreed.
So I don't think he's there just yet. It looks like they're building something between Priest and Andrade.
Yeah.
But they're running out of time. So, maybe that program with Andrade will lead to, something else.
The other thing that I'm looking at with that, and we'll get to Rhea in a second, is I think that Andrade angle is playing up because you remember Rhea was the first one that brought Andrade around.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, I want you guys to meet this guy, whatever. And so now there's these weird interactions where she's kind of in the background. And if you notice yesterday, Andrade, as soon as he starts talking to Dom, she's like, I got to go get out of the ring. So I think they might be playing an angle there. Like they're breaking up mommy and poppy, but Rhea and Becky, thoughts? Who do you think's going over?
This is a tough one, right?
I know.
I think they go with, See, part of me says Becky will do the favors for Rhea. And it'll be, a situation where Becky will end up getting that win back, maybe at, Clash at the Castle across the water.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what they have to come up with a finish where I believe Rhea goes face. I think that's Rhea's future for the next year or so at least. Look, you can't keep people down from cheering for her. It's just obvious. You've got Becky, who's one of the most popular female faces in the business, and you've got mixed reaction at best right now for this match from the crowd. You still have Mommy and Rhea. So, do you do the thing where Becky wins and, Rhea comes across as the face at the end and she shakes her hand out of respect and then they run it back? Do you have Rhea beat Becky and then try to move Becky to a heel and, something interesting is if you wanted to really flip everything on its face, and I don't know if they'll do it, but if you wanted to, the opportunity is there between Rhea, Becky, Seth, and Drew, where you could almost flip both of those. And Becky had said, again, when she was on Helwani, I keep bringing it up, but I do think they drop little Easter eggs. Becky mentioned how Ariel asked her if she could work on screen with Seth again because it was so bad last time. And she said, I don't think we could work together again on screen the way we worked the first time. But I think the big time Bex and Seth Rollins character really work well together. So it makes you wonder if they're going to try to, swap there and make Becky heel and Rhea face. You might see Seth and Becky get back there. And then you have Seth, if you go off of what I'm saying, and you've got Seth crying about how he lost on Sunday night and Drew just being honest, then you could flip that too. Now, me personally, I would keep Drew a heel because I think he's so damn captivating. I don't want to mess with any of that right now. But I do think they got to find something for Seth after this match on Sunday. As far as Rhea and Becky, I'll go with Rhea just because I think she's so hot right now. And, again, maybe they do the whole Becky loses, gets back at Clash at the Castle and wins it. But I'm going to go Rhea. It's a tough call, though.
Yeah, I think you bring up some great points. I didn't think of a turn like that. I think it would be stupid to change the title. I think it would be so dumb for this reason. How many times have we seen just a Becky win or Becky Lynch title win, and then it's like, maybe a month to run, and then we drop it to somebody, right? There's been so many of those. This screams to me WrestleMania 24 when Orton unexpectedly went over Cena and Triple H. I think you got to keep Rhea rolling, but I also think you have to play very, very carefully with that face or with her, because if you turn her face, she still has to be the same person. You can't turn her cheesy, right? It's kind of the Orton effect. So you got to look at that. So maybe you're right. Maybe you do have a moment where after the match, after Rhea's retained, there's some questions there about what Bex is doing. You let that run up until their next overseas show. And then you have Becky, who's probably a mega heel at that point because Rhea is so popular. Yeah, Becky go over. Now you've got a hot ass mega heel going into SummerSlam.
And you can play off of what Becky's been doing, right? Like, I need to show that I'm better than you and stuff. And I thought they should have dug deeper into that. Honestly, with this story between Rhea and Becky is they hit it early on about, I've got to prove that I'm as good as you or better than you, is what Becky pretty much said to Rhea towards the beginning of this whole thing starting between them.
And she's doing all those matches where
they should have dug in deeper on that and had her voice that more throughout of, I'm trying to get to that, pinnacle. I'm trying to get to that mountain again. Because what you could do is, it's a great match and Rhea wins fair and square. And then Becky just kind of loses her shit because she lost the match and she kind of sees, she sees her mortality as a top-notch female star kind of going away. And so she kind of just has that reaction,
And that's perfect because if Seth was to drop the title, then you have that conversation that's going on where Seth's talking about how to get back to the top.
Yep.
She's talking about any means necessary. Love it. Okay. We've only got about 5 minutes left. So what match that we have not mentioned are you looking forward to the most?
Well, we can go through them. Give me a rapid fire.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go.
Fire, though.
All right. Let's go. Gunther and Gunther and Sami Zayn. Loved the promo the other night, or the tape one. That was great.
Yeah. I go Gunther winning. I think he wins, and I think Gable screws over Zayn, or Gable jumps Zayn after the match because he's upset that Sami didn't listen to his teachings well enough, and you have a Gable Zayn thing happen after that.
All right. So I like that, but I hope Gable's the one that takes the title off Gunther. I do. And you got to get Gunther off that title, Nick. You have to get him on to bigger and better things. All right, let's go to the 6-pack ladder match. You got Judgment Day, the Awesome Truth. I love Awesome Truth. DIY, New Day, Newcastle Republic, and A-Town Down Under. Where are you going?
All right, so Jimmy Traina, not Jimmy Traina. What's his name? Jimmy Van from Fightful. Whoever that is, Jimmy from Fightful. I heard him mention, I didn't catch this from Cole the other night, but he said that Cole during the match mentioned that the tag team match will continue until both tag team titles are claimed.
Interesting.
So that could mean they're going to split the titles.
Love it.
If they're going to split the tag titles, then you're going to have one team and one team. So I would love for DIY to win it on the Raw side. Something tells me it'll probably be the Awesome Truth, but I'm going to go with thinking of like tag team workhorses and what Hunter will want to do with the tag team division. I'll go DIY on the Raw side, and I'll go New Catch Republic on the SmackDown side.
Damn, dude. Okay. Those were my picks. Well, you know what? Yeah, New Catch Republic. That's where I was going. Well done. Okay, this one, a lot of controversy. People going both ways. Jay versus Jimmy Uso.
No yeet.
Jay wins the entrance, Jimmy wins the match.
Yep, I'm with you. It does. It's like the Hardy brothers, right? They had to put Matt over Jeff at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, Jay beating Jimmy doesn't really do much. Jay's already over. He doesn't need it.
Yep. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. I love Santos Escobar's work. Nick.
Love him too. I think he's a star in the making. I've loved him. I loved him since his NXT days. He can cut a promo. He's got a fantastic look. He's very good in the ring. I think you got to put Escobar over. He's the guy in this match that is your future star, right? Rey is Rey. He's GOAT. He's fine. Dom is that heat dude who's just going to kind of roam around and fill his role in the middle of the card, I think. Dragon Lee is just onto the scene. You don't give him that kind of a win. I think you give Santos the win, and he kind of starts that I don't know if it'll be rapid rise, but he will start that rise towards the top of the card after this weekend.
Yep, I am with you. Dominic at some point will have a babyface run and probably win the championship or win a championship just because he gets such great reactions. Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control.
Oh, Jade's going to squash people and go over.
With you. Bailey versus the Genius of the Sky.
It's a tough one. I'm going to go with EO.
Wow.
I'm going to go with EO. And I'm going to go with Bailey gets screwed by somebody. Is Julia's contract up? Like,
I don't know. I sure as hell hope so.
If I'm fantasy booking, Julia comes out to help EO win the to retain the championship, and Julia joins Damage Control, and then eventually you could have a Julia versus EO feud when EO turns face down the road.
Love it. I think they're gonna go full Bailey. It's her time. She's kind of floundered, and this is gonna be full out face Bailey. I think they're even going to bust out Izzy. I'm going to throw a parlay in there. I'm parlaying it with Izzy from NXT. Coming back.
So
because she's an adult now. Yep.
Bailey comes out hugging people and all that. Not the crazy inflatable man at the entrance.
Oh, yeah.
That too?
They're all of those, Nick. They're back, dude. Maybe they put some tape on them because they got cut before.
I hope Bailey I hope Bailey wins. I just feel like there's so much there with EO that they haven't even scratched the surface with. I've been disappointed, I would say, in the overall execution of some of these things, because with Damage Control and Bailey, I think there's so much meat to that bone, and it almost feels like they raced to it. It's almost like they ran to it a little too quickly with, Bailey breaking up with them, and then all of a sudden she understood what they were saying the whole time, and it was kind of a clunky explanation as to why she decided to pull the trigger when she did. I just, I thought that there's so much story there that I could see EO win and Bailey get a rematch. I just think there's more there. And so how do you do that? You might get a little bit of a screwy finish.
Yeah, okay. I'm in with that. More Bailey. I think she's going to be over big time though. Either way, we are missing a match. We are missing
Well, we got
the
LA Knight and
LA
AJ
Knight, AJ
Styles.
Styles. That's such a weird match, Nick. And dude, and by the way, AJ is freaking gooped. Him and Orton, I don't know what they're doing, but LA Knight, he cooling off to you?
He's cooling off, but I think he's cooling off because they wanted him to cool off. The way they positioned him cooled him down a little bit. And he said recently in an interview that he thought it was too much too quick with him. He said that. He said, he thought it might have been a little too much too early, and having that title match against Roman in Saudi Arabia or whatever, he wasn't going to complain about it because obviously it was a great spot to be in, but he thought that it was a little rushed. So I think they probably cooled him off. I think he beats AJ. AJ's AJ. He can lose and come right back. If LA Knight loses to AJ Styles, then I would say officially LA is pretty much buried.
No.
Maybe not buried full, but he drops down a peg. How about
no yeet?
Yeah. No yeet.
No yeet. What do you think about the triple threat US match?
That one's got me a little bit torn up. I don't think. No, you know what? I think Logan goes over. I really do, and here's why. It's not the Prime sponsorship. Logan's a hell of a worker.
Yeah.
And if Logan can commit some time to WWE, he could have some good. He's had good matches with some people. A little bit still raw. He had a move about a month or two ago where he almost hurt somebody, but then he saved him too. But you got to get the U.S. title off of him too. I don't see Orton winning, so I'm going to say Logan. How about you?
So I think it's going to be Logan because I got my eyes at SummerSlam, right? So SummerSlam's in Cleveland, which is where Logan's from.
Correct.
So I just feel like Logan Paul will have a marquee matchup at SummerSlam. I mean, shoot, they could get the title off of him and he could go for, if Cody does win, you could have a Logan Paul Cody match.
Right.
That doesn't, though, scream to me SummerSlam. It's like Cody versus Rock or Cody versus Roman or Cody versus.
But as a viewer, are you ready for that? Do you think, would you look at that match?
Cody versus Rock?
No, Cody versus Cody versus Logan.
No, see, it doesn't scream to me as a summer. I don't think Logan's there. And look, I mean, he challenged Roman Reigns in the Saudi Arabia show going back a while ago, but I don't or he challenged. Did he? Yeah, he challenged.
No. Is that where he won?
He challenged.
No, he did challenge Roman. He challenged Roman. He absolutely did, and he got hurt in that match.
Yeah, because he had Roman on the podcast, and then that kind of rolled into it, right?
Yep.
He already had Seth Rollins. That was last year's Mania.
Yep.
I saw that match in person. That was a really good match.
I bet.
So I think I would lean towards Logan Paul winning, keeping the title. He'll probably defend the U.S. title at SummerSlam against somebody in a high quality marquee kind of match. Meanwhile, I think Owens and Orton go off as a feud. Something will happen. One guy will cost the other guy. Paul gets the,
I'm in for that.
The heel, smarmy finish. And then you've got Orton versus Owens moving forward.
And if you wanted to get the title off of Logan and you're not ready for Damian, you could have him cash in on the U.S. champion. If you wanted to put Logan in a title match,
you could. I don't know if they'll do that though.
I don't think they will.
After the Austin Theory experience, I don't know if they would.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So we talked main events really quick already at the beginning.
Well, Seth and Drew, right? Did we say Seth and Drew?
I think you said that Seth loses to Drew.
Yeah, I would have Drew win. Yes, I think Drew is so hot right now. He is arguably, outside of the final boss thing that The Rock's doing now all of a sudden, Drew is one of the best characters on television right now. And I think you got to pay that off and have him win the title.
Agreed. And that sets up him and Punk possibly at SummerSlam too. Get Rollins some rest. Cody, you think he does or doesn't finish the story?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he goes over on Sunday. I don't think they can do that back-to-back years. I think there would be a riot in Philadelphia if Cody lost.
Nice. Any WrestleMania surprises?
I think Cena will show up and help Cody. I think Austin will pop up and do something.
Okay. Any
brother
Hogan?
Yeah.
Maybe as like a mouthpiece doing something, but nothing significant. I don't think.
Keep him in the back.
Yeah, I don't need to see Hogan, with all due respect. I'm with you. We need to move on with that stuff. So I think CM Punk might get involved physically a little bit, as much as he can do. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But I think I think they'll save a number of surprises for Monday night, because my feeling is that Monday night is going to be incredible, because reportedly last year Monday night was set to be incredible, and then Vince came in and ruined everything. So now I think Hunter and his team want to do the night after WrestleMania the right way. I think they're going to go all out on Monday night.
Love it. And I thought the Chicago Raw, great move by WWE to go with a smaller set. I love when they do the smaller sets in big arenas for whatever reason. I love that. But doing that, the atmosphere in Chicago was massive. You carry over to Brooklyn, that was a great show. So they're rolling in very, very hot. Nick, where can everybody find you? Tell them what you're doing. And by the way, I just got to say, you come into Sacramento, you cover the year the Kings lose their playoff drought, right? And then you go back to the East Coast and you're covering Bill Belichick leaving the Patriots. So it's like, you're like back-to-back massive stories, both coasts.
There's a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So it's the Nick Cattle Show podcast that I'm doing. And, I do it daily on YouTube. It's Boston stuff, though. So look, if you're not a Patriots fan, if you're not into the Patriots stuff, New England stuff, then I get it. But it's the Nick Cattle Show. Well, we do 11 a.m. every morning on YouTube Eastern time. I got a Patreon page that I'm doing as well. And maybe some other things coming down the road here. But mainly what I'm doing, man, I'm just working the pod, and I'm doing it all on my own. I'm cutting all the audio, and I'm cutting all the video and promoting it on social. So it's actually a lot more involved than many might think. And I'm also writing a column for Boston Sports Journal here in New
England. Are you having fun doing some of that stuff on your own now?
I'm having fun, but I miss radio, man. I miss radio. I miss the back and forth of radio. I miss the listeners. And look, the people have been awesome with the podcast, the viewers and listeners and stuff like that. They've been incredible. The growth has been humbling, frankly, over the last few months with that pod.
Amazing.
But, I do miss my first love is radio and hosting radio. So I miss the camaraderie between the people on the show. I miss doing, a show for 3 hours. I don't like 4 hours, but I miss doing the show because you just get to touch everything. You get to have fun. You get to relax a little bit, where doing the pod, I'm kind of going 100 miles an hour
I hear you.
To try to cover as much as possible, where the radio allows you to kind of spread the wings more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you did a great job here. And I'm sure big things, if you decide to go back into radio, are definitely in store. But hey, anytime you want to talk wrestling, Nick, I'm serious. I know your schedule's crazy. Mine's busy with the Kings. I'm here, man. I love wrestling. So
I'm always really to talk wrestling. Always.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on today, and enjoy your WrestleMania, Nick. And we'll put all of his links in our description as well.
All right, Ron. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Have a good one. Appreciate you staying long. That is Nick Cattle. So happy that he got to join us today, talk some WrestleMania. This guy's been hitting me. This guy's the reason we actually kind of did this show. So I'm guessing he's got a ton of wrestling stuff. What's up, dude?
What's up, Rhino?
Welcome in. We got about 10 minutes because then I got to get over to Grant and
Jerry. Yeah, you got to get over to Grant and Jerry.
Yeah.
Hey, man, just want to chat a little bit about WrestleMania with you. I'm looking at night one is a night that is going to be more heels winning than some of the faces, right? there's a lot to unpack, and I think you guys were hitting quite a bit of it. But if I'm looking at night one, I want to start with the 6-pack ladder match.
Yeah,
right.
Let's hit it.
And I do think I could see two scenarios where Judgment Day loses both titles, or maybe they keep one. But then if we go to the Rey Mysterio Dragon Lee in Santos Escobar versus Dom, like you've seen that wedge start to drive with Dom inviting, Legado del Fantasma into the Judgment Day stuff. I think Rhea gets over. I don't think there's any chance she loses. But do they give all of the Judgment Day all these belts, right? Because I could also see, if Damian Priest and Finn Balor win, I think Damian Priest cashes in after Drew beats Seth, and then maybe they have a rematch at Clash of the Castle, which is going to be in Scotland.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
That'd be an interesting question. I mean, for somebody that kind of got their moment taken away from with Drew, because it was in a warehouse, I would love to ask him if he would rather win the world title at WrestleMania or in Scotland. I bet the answer would be Scotland. And maybe WrestleMania.
So I think he wins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Gets
I know.
Money in the Bank cash in.
Right. Yeah. But if you do that, you better give his ass like a good 4 or 5 minutes, show like 3 replays. And the problem is with the Money in the Bank, it's so predictable. And with WWE trying to do so much different stuff now, I could see them like doing the cash in a different way.
Money in the Bank.
Oh, nice.
LA Night.
Nice. See, that was I was in LA. I was in LA for a Jim Rome thing. And on the way home was the day Money in the Bank was on. It was overseas, right? Yeah. It's in London or somewhere.
I think it was in England or Ireland or something like that.
So, anyways, we were watching it on the way home, and everybody wanted LA Knight. It was right at the peak of his high, and I'm like, you got to give it tonight. And they didn't give it tonight, and I was that guy. I'm like, you know what? They missed an opportunity. But then they trolled us because after that, LA was still doing nothing for a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden he gets the push. But so
he's been pretty quiet as of late. But you guys were talking about that match with him and AJ Styles. I think LA Knight gets over on that one, but like you said, AJ Styles is AJ Styles. He'd be fun.
Yeah, he has to. I guess what I'm kind of looking forward to is what are the surprises going to be? Because this is the first WrestleMania without Vince McMahon's hand in the pot. And most of the surprises were predictable in the past few WrestleManias. Cody obviously was huge. But I think Triple H, Nick kind of hinted at it with the Raw on Monday night. I think Triple H is going to go really big for this. I think it's going to be different and cool. So,
and I'm also excited for SmackDown. I know there's probably not going to be a lot of matches that night.
But
I think they're just going to build this whole thing up even more. And so that'll be exciting. But
they have everybody in town because it's there. So absolutely. Any bold predictions?
No, I just think, Roman and The Rock end up winning. I don't think there's any way The Rock comes back to lose in his first match in 11 years. I think there's zero chance of that. But I think it also sets up, the bloodline rules match for Cody and Roman. And, like I was putting out in the text, I think, Jey Uso, maybe Goldust, hopefully Goldust.
No,
that would be awesome. No yeet. But you could see Jey coming out to battle Jimmy and handle him. And, maybe even Seth Rollins comes back out after he loses 5 minutes earlier to take on Solo or whatever. I think there's some people that could come out of the woodworks and for that one. But
yeah, no, I think I just don't want them to do it like in a predictable way. And quite honestly, it hasn't been crazy predictable, the story. It's been better than I thought it would be. Thank gosh they brought back The Rock's old music.
Oh man, I went to the SmackDown here a couple weeks ago in
Dallas.
Did
you?
And they,
give us that. Okay, I got 3 minutes. Give us a in-house report. What were your thoughts?
Oh, it was fine. It was great. I went with my daughter. She's 5 years old and she's a big LA Knight fan. So unfortunately he wasn't there that night, but more than anything, man, we had a great time. It was cool to see The Rock and Cody and Roman like face off with, Seth and all that stuff. It was a fun night. More than anything, we had a good time together.
Awesome. Anything interesting happen off camera?
Okay, so she's 5, and as I saw the clock ticking closer to the end of the show, I was like, let's get out of here while we can. So we bounced a little bit early. We didn't stay for the off-air stuff, but we got home in about 45 minutes. So that was pretty good
Cool.
Moly Jim Bob Bowley.
You got to give her Moly Jim Bob Bowley. We got to give her one of those. Very cool.
Yeah, man. So it was a good time. But
awesome. What are you doing for WrestleMania?
Probably just hanging out with my son. My wife and daughter are going to a baby shower on Saturday. So we'll be me and him hanging out, watching that, and kind of just hanging out. Watching WrestleMania, man. Yeah.
Cool. I used to, depending on my schedule, WrestleMania usually was the only pay-per-view because of my schedule I would catch live. But then I wasn't always able to catch it live, but now you have to catch it live because even if you try to not have like any spoilers or anything, I'm covering the Kings game. I'm looking at possessions. I'm looking at stats. I have there's a group that has a lot of people that I respect, or, like people where if I see their tweet up there, I know it's legit. And so that's where I'm looking during my games. And Matt George, dude, he posted, it was 2 weeks ago, the picture of like The Rock holding the belt, the bloodied weight belt, and I'm like, Matt, Matt,
no yeet,
Matt, no yeet, Matt. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding, buddy. But yeah, very cool, man. We'll enjoy WrestleMania. I appreciate you popping in.
Well, sir, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thank everybody for joining us here on the live edition of the King's Court. We're going to do these. These are our guest testimonies. This is the King's Court studio. Hope you guys like it. I thought this was pretty fun. Yeah. Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley. But anyways, we'll be back tomorrow with an all-new King's Court on the audio. You guys can find this. If you're listening to it, then it's already on the audio. And also hop on over to YouTube right now, Grant and Jerry, or go to X. We're going to be live there, Grant and Jerry, in less than 10 minutes. It's coming up right now. I guess it's time for me to stand too. Hey, thank you guys all so much for being here. Huge thanks to Nick Cattles. Go check his work out. You guys know him from here in Sacramento. He's doing really great things. So have a great day. We will see you in about 10 minutes on Grant and Jerry.